up. I've got me. We're live.
There we go.
How's it going?
Hi, it's going, man. It's going. Of course, we were talking before the show started, and I, of course, haven't set my lineup, so I thought let's do this, Kev. Let's do this. I put together a chase lineup, and I kind of want to push through and get some of my stuff in there. So this is your chase team, huh? You are going with Iglesias.
Well, it's scary because, like you said, the Braves did too good, and so he didn't get any, appearances, and they're playing the Marlins now, which, they should blow them out every game too. So who knows? But you got to figure that, it'll be 7 days without pitching. They'll probably get him in a game, even if it's not a save situation. Now, whether or not he throws terribly, because a lot of times closers will have bad ones when they're just coming in a game, that doesn't matter. But yeah, so who knows? But yeah, I hadn't gone through much, and actually this one I just switched because I had initially had Clase in as my reliever, and I pulled him out because he pitched. Even the Guardians aren't going to pitch him like 6 of 7 days, right?
Yeah, they are. Are you kidding? Of course they are. They want the 1 seed. Nice. So what's crazy, Kev, is that you just showed that team. So before the show, Kevin and I were talking, and I said, essentially, with the big scores last week and what Ohtani did and what the Braves did, like, you really need to be on top of things. Like, it's very difficult if you're not within a certain amount of points to really get caught up. And what I really want to call out here is that we just looked at Kevin's team, and Kev, like, when I displayed my team, I actually put together a team just before we came on, and it is almost exactly the same team. I mean, it is hitter-wise exactly the same team that you have. I just went with Corbin Burns, and I went with Clase, but you're right. So I'm going with Mason Miller, although Mason Miller's pitched like 3 days in a row now too. So I don't know what to do. And these are the kind of decisions that will make or break, but I already feel out of the chase, like, for a top 3 spot. So, like, we just keep going, So.
Yeah. I mean, if you get a couple weird weekends, it certainly could be back in it, but yeah, it's tough, when you kind of need those big midweeks to carry you to have a shot, which this is the first time I've done it in a while. I have sucked the first week almost every time. And I guess this one I was just kind of average, obviously my champ lineup, which I'd prioritize Chase, I think, over champ, but at some point it's just flipping a coin with Bobby Witt or, Ketel Marte and all of that. So
what was your first score in the chase?
I don't know. Let's find out.
You should be able to, yeah.
335, so 47th.
Yeah,
probably 100 points behind first, right?
Yeah, well, that's kind of what we're talking about. I think that I'm right there with you, actually. I actually think that that's where I was last week too. We were right around the same area. So my chase score, no, I'm not even close. 317. So, like I said, I'm out of it.
Oh wow,
I'm out of it.
471. I guess I put up like 476 in champ. It's just those numbers look crazy.
So now, like, I just dumped my chase team because it's not worth it to put it in there in my eyes. Like, I don't want to put my best players in there to win $10 at the end of a month. And so now I just completely reshuffle my teams. And this is a really interesting thing with the chase. Like, it is no longer my priority in any way, shape, or form, because I simply cannot catch. 160-point difference is impossible to catch.
Which means you'll definitely have like a top 10 this weekend.
I mean, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But I mean, it's the exact same team, but I'm going to go with Clase and Burns because I have less stress.
Yeah.
Because it's completely out of range.
So, hey, Eagle just said, looks like a good weekend for SB at RP. And yeah, that's a good point. How do you feel about Nick Martinez? Because he was one that it looked like he had a decent matchup. I kind of like how he's been pitching. I feel, I probably feel better about him than Iglesias, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, though, I think Iglesias is going to get in, right? And they're going to use him. I don't ever feel comfortable with a relief pitcher. And, like, I know we just talked about Clase, like, getting a lot of work. The only relief pitchers that I ever feel comfortable putting in are Clase and then Mason Miller. Honestly, and I know it's part of me being a Oakland fan, but I know when Mason Miller comes in, even if he blows a save, he's still going to score about 10 points and strikeouts and outs and putouts and stuff
Right.
like that. So I'm willing to run that out there. And the A's have been playing good baseball since the All-Star break. They're one of the best teams in baseball since the All-Star break. So I'm willing to run that out there. They're playing a Yankees team with Soto going in after hurting his knee yesterday. And a Yankees team without Juan Soto is limp. Like they are not a good baseball team without Soto. And so I think that and this is Oakland's last homestand in the Coliseum. I
Yeah.
really think that Oakland is going to smash the Yankees this week. And so
I
I'm willing
always,
to.
I always like seeing that. At a very young age, I taught my son our two favorite teams are the Twins and whoever is playing the Yankees.
Yeah. And I like it. I mean, and I'm okay with that. I like to see these kind of things. I want to see what happens. And like I said, Clase or I don't know. I mean, all of my relievers are gone now. I mean, Kimbrel got DFA'd, and Camilo Duvall sucked throughout the year, and he got sent down. And Munoz has not been good for the Mariners, and it's just like everything's a mess currently. And I'm just like, huh, okay, well, so be it. We go with it. But yeah, man, these are kind of decisions that make it fun. But now that I don't have that priority there, I can actually focus on champ again. I want to try to do what you did and win champ, right?
Nice. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's $500. Like, and if you win champ once, like that's coming in third or fourth in the chase, and I'm going to take my chances because I have the cards, right?
For sure.
Double up on my Otanis, and if anyone wants to buy an Otani, just let me know. I've got 2 of them.
Yeah. Nice. What are they going for now? Because I saw like a classic was like 150 last night.
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
And I was like, I should buy that and just sell because I won 2 in-season ones this year.
Right.
So
Yep.
I don't need more than one
And
in-season right now.
that's what I'm thinking too, Kev. Like I have 2 in-season Otanis.
So they're up to 170 now. So they're like $20 cheaper before.
Yep. And I mean, like I said, I would sell it. I would move it at like 150 if someone wanted to do that.
Yeah.
It's just too set up. But I mean, like part of the conversation has to come down to we have the playoff competition coming up, and the Dodgers, we expect them to do well. So I feel like guys like Otani are absolute must-haves in the playoffs, obviously, because we just don't have as many teams, right?
Yeah.
So
So I mean, and I know some of the people playing this aren't. You just started following MLB, with SoRare. But like the Dodgers are like known in recent years for having an incredible regular season team and then flaming out in the playoffs, except for the pandemic year when they won. But that's an asterisk year, right? So, who's going to pitch for them? So like, yeah, I mean, their offense looks great, and maybe they're not going to need it too much. And Yamamoto, it sounds like Glasnow's not coming back, right?
no Glass now. Bobby Miller's was terrible, and he got sent down, right?
He looked so good for that stretch last year,
and
then it seems like he totally lost his command. I don't.
It's young guys getting used to things. I don't know. I mean, injuries at young ages have a massive effect. It's not just on your body, but it's also mentally too. And if you don't have it, it's not easy to pick back up. So, I mean, from a sports psychology, which I am not a sports psychologist, I can understand why it's difficult. But we still have these expectations for these guys because they were so great when they started, and we think that they can keep it up, right? So, I mean, but like, as I go through, as I build these teams out right now, and we could probably just I could probably display my screen as we go through as I'm building out my teams.
Oh
Just
yeah,
Otani pitch inning. Man, DJ Local, I don't think Otani should ever pitch again.
yeah.
Ever. I think that he is just so unbelievably dominant that it doesn't make sense to ever use him again. Like if this is his first season of not pitching and he's doing what he's doing offensively, why would you ever want him to pitch? And obviously these two are not like scenarios, but all of those years he was pitching, they never made the playoffs. I mean, it doesn't help that he played for the Angels either. But yeah, so like
I saw a tweet earlier. Someone was like, man, like Ohtani, Trout, Albert Pujols, like imagine if those guys were all on a team together.
yeah, I
Crazy.
mean, it's baseball, so I mean, I wouldn't pitch him again. I would use the best player in the world and let him just hit and continue to do what he's doing. That's my personal feeling with these things. But, I'm not paid to do this kind of stuff. I'm just paid to make fantasy teams. So, and by paid, I mean not paid at all. So I just have fun with it. It's my hobby. So,
Nice.
okay. So, like I said, I kind of went off on a little tangent there on the champ team and the chase team. So this is what I'm going with champ team. So essentially, it's the same team that you have, but like I said, I'm swapping out Colton Burns for whoever you had pitching and Mason Miller at the reliever spot. Like these are tried and true studs, right? And you know, who knows what's going to happen? But I mean, Otani could go 6 for 6 and have 10 RBIs and 3 home runs again. I mean, that might be the single largest scoring game we've had ever, right? It has
Yeah,
to be.
it's. I don't remember another game like that, but
Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately, we don't know because we don't have well. I'm almost certain that that sort of thing is on the API, and
Mhm.
my current spare time project is learning to code and figure out how to start pulling that data and playing with it. So,
Love it.
so yeah, we're at least a couple weeks off of that, but yeah, it's been interesting learning.
Yeah. I mean,
So
and like, I mean, you can even see it. Like my Otani with the captain bonus, is at 21%. So this is what it was like last week too. So I think my Otani scored close to 150 points, which is just nuts from limited cards. And just for those of you watching the show that may or may be unfamiliar with me, like my whole plan was to buy early and boost up these collection scores as much as I could for my studs. So you can see the collection bonus on a lot of these guys is at 5%. So it's why these bonuses look like what you would get at a rare level of a card. So I was going to put this in the chase, but now that I am mathematically eliminated from the chase already, it's I don't think it's worth my time or effort. So here's my backup chase team. Break it down for me here, Clamp. Like, what are we doing here? Any injuries to worry about? Any things that you see that
um,
any areas that you're not liking? I mean, obviously Kyle
Class
Tucker.
A, I would pull Class A.
Mm-hmm.
Tucker is I'm just a little. I don't think you know what you're going to get necessarily.
Yep.
There may well be a day off. Just for maintenance. I don't think Houston's really playing for much right now, right? Like they're
Aren't
pretty
they?
well
Are
set.
they locked in? Yeah, I think they're locked.
I
They're
mean,
locked.
I think it would take like a Twins level skid for them to fall out of the bye. So,
Yeah.
right? Are they in second? Or are they no? So it's Yankees.
Third. Yeah.
It's them in the Gardos. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I don't think I don't know if they're going to catch the Guardians right now, but
Yep. So I mean, but like Hater was used. Like you can look at Hater's usage. I mean, obviously Class A has been used 4 out of the last 5 games. Hater
yeah.
3 out of the last 5 games.
Yep. And
Iglesias
Nick
has not been.
Martinez, I'm telling you.
I don't know Nick Martinez, believe it or not.
I suppose. Yeah. If
Yep.
you're mostly current year cards and all that.
Yep. So see, I have this. I don't know why, but
Helsley? How does Helsley look this week? He's the other one I had in. And then Garrett Crochet. I think Crochet, if you've got a relief pitcher for him, he might only go 4 innings, I guess, but like that might be well easy enough to do. Edwin Diaz probably is playable, right?
man, like I love it. I have so many cards, and you've just named 4 relievers that I do not own. I love
Yeah.
it. Which is why I go with guys like Lucas Erceg.
Yeah.
The Royals need to win games, right? I mean,
Yeah, no, Ursic's a good one.
Yeah. So this, Kev. So we have our chats that we go through, and Kevin and I and a lot of other guys on the sorareFP team, we've been talking about, relievers and all that kind of stuff, especially for our long-term, year-long league. And I was yelling from the rooftops that Urseg would get traded and would become a closer for someone, and now he is for the Kansas City Royals. And I really like the kid, man. Really,
Yeah.
really like the kid. I think he's a very quiet, sneaky, good card to have as you go into the playoffs.
Yep. And I
So,
mean, that's the thing with relievers is that they don't need to have a ton of good pitches. Like it doesn't take much for a guy to go from like he was a T5. Like I won him in super rare at the end of last season. And I looked
mhm,
at his like minor league stats. I was like, he could be all right.
yep,
But I mean, that was the first I'd heard of him. Like he
yeah,
wasn't a super high, like a highly rated prospect or anything, but like one inning at a time, he's got good enough stuff. And,
mhm.
like, like you were saying with Bobby Miller. So I mean, sometimes young guys kind of figure it out or they don't in terms of command and control and all that.
Yep, exactly, exactly. So, like, if you look over here, like on my side, like I clearly have a lot of Yankees and other pitchers. Like George Kirby, you and I had talked about George Kirby all season, and he has his highs and his lows, but like his highs are really high, but his lows are so low that I never feel comfortable using him for anything. So I guess my question to you as a Twins fan is, do I use Pablo Lopez this week? Are the Twins going to wake up and snap out of this skid? He seems like the guy to do it for them.
I mean, I think what's most likely to happen is the Twins lose like 3-2 in 11 innings. So, I mean, I think he can have a good start and my hopes and dreams can be crushed at the same time.
Yep.
But I mean, no, I mean, he started off slow, but his underlying peripheral stats and all that looked pretty good, so I love Pablo. I think he's great. He's got the ability to be, to do, double digit strikeouts in a start. So there's not many people that can do that. I like him. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I don't feel super confident with him. I'm not sure that I started him in rare limited at all.
I got to be honest with you too. Like I just said at the start that without Soto, the Yankees are a completely different team, and it runs all the way through the staff.
Yeah.
So I think Oakland's going to smash this weekend because they are in their last home series at the Coliseum. I think the Yankees losing their one of their best players is problematic. I don't trust Heel and I don't trust Rodon on a long
Yeah.
road trip. I think that Lawrence Butler is so underrated and Brett Rooker is so underrated that it's criminal. I mean, Rooker's
Yeah.
on Rooker has a chance to hit 40 home runs this year, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Butler has hit like 21 home runs since the All-Star break. Like this team is clicking on
Yeah.
all cylinders. So these are the
That
things.
said, I mean, if Heel's not getting swing and miss, he's going to struggle. But if there's a team that's going to swing and miss, it's the A's. So I mean, the Mariners, the Pirates, right now, I feel like are the teams where I'm like, if there's a strikeout guy going,
Right.
that's a pretty good start. I don't think. I mean, they're young. I don't know if they're going to be patient enough to kind of make him find the zone if he's struggling. And that's when he has a bad start, it's when he's struggling like that. But
Yes. And I mean, keep in mind, so when it comes to Heel, when he's missing, he's throwing up like meatballs. They're home run pitches, right? And as it turns out, the A's have scored almost 52% of the runs in home run balls this year. So, like, they hit the ball a long way when they hit it. It's just a matter of how many strikeouts are they going to have. And so, you and I both know that when you lose control, you put guys on base, guys are hitting home runs. All of a sudden, your ERA, your score is dropping like really, really fast. And Heel has the potential to go 7 innings of 10 strikeout, like no hit ball,
yeah,
or go point 0.2 of an inning,
right, yeah,
12 runs. And so,
7 runs, 3 home runs.
yeah, yep.
All
So,
right. So before I get too distracted, and today is a very, very distractible day. Kik had talked about Kopech on the Dodgers. A lot of the Dodgers pitchers right now, like their leverage guys, I wouldn't necessarily trust Evan Phillips, but like Hudson, probably Brusdar Graterol, like, and then who's the other guy in their pen? Kopech and yeah, I don't know. Someone else is there one other leverage guy, or is it Phillips that I'm thinking of?
I think you're thinking of Phillips.
All right. Anyway, that was that one. And then for starters, Shota too risky with the weather for his Sunday start. That's a good point. Let's pull up Hunter's weather breakdown to see what we've got.
Yes.
Where is that? Okay, here we go.
Man,
Uh,
you know, I've come a long way, Kev. When
yeah.
I put together an American League team with Jose Ramirez and Vlad Guerrero and Gunnar, and I'm putting my captain bonus on Brett Rooker.
Nice.
Let's go, boys.
All right. What? Oh, it's the Cubs game. So we've got Washington at the Cubs. Weather looks
Mm-hmm.
bad Sunday. Sorry, I'm not sharing the right one right now. But yeah, I don't know. Uh, I think that's probably too risky to go. The other guys that I had when I was looking through my lineups were Wheeler, DeGrom, and Yamamoto, and I think those all looked safe. So I mean, I think I would start guys like that. And then who else? Who else were you looking at on yours?
Oh, I just think of random things.
Jones, nice.
I won my second Jared Jones. I like these guys, honestly.
Oh yeah,
Jones, Skeens, like I'm not expecting the world from them. But this is usually when it comes down to like my AL and NL teams, I am less focused on these teams, but I'm deep enough all around that I can put together strong teams, right? Like, and this is what happens when you kind of build the way I was building. So it's a matter of like, what are you going to fill in here? And for me, it's like I'm looking for peaks right now, right? So I'm looking for a guy like Bryce Harper and Ellie De La Cruz to drop in here. Even though, you know, Ellie is going to strike out 15 times, he still might hit 2 home runs and still 6 bases.
yeah.
So, like, those are the kind of guys that I'm looking for. You know, I was expecting more from Christian Walker in Coors and same with Ketel Marte, but it just didn't happen, right? And so they're going to find their groove. They're going to figure those things out. But I mean, when it comes down to something like this, what I'm looking for when I'm setting my captain pick is I'm looking for the guys that can do it all. And when I look at this team, Freddie Freeman had a massive week last week, like 70 or so points. And I don't like to me at least, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kev, but I feel like he kind of just goes in waves. And if the Dodgers are running hot, Freeman is running hot. You know, if Freeman is running hot, the Dodgers are running hot. And so I just don't usually know where to go because all of these guys on a regular team, all of my position players, are all capable of carrying the captain crown. And for me, like I lean more towards Churio because I think the Brewers are amazing. And we're both wearing Brewers hats today, if that tells you
Love
anything.
it.
And Churio for me, he was one of the early cards that we bought, you know, as the number one, number two prospect in all of baseball, right there with Skeets. And he's really coming to his own in the second half of the season. And, you know, normally with Ketel Marte before he got hurt, he was up there as well. But there's just a lot of ups and downs with every other guy here. So I like the consistency of Trio getting on base with the opportunity to steal bases while also hitting home runs and not striking out nearly as much as Elio of the Cruz does. So that's kind of how I'm thinking of that. Like, talk me out of this one, Kev. Like,
Yeah.
who are you captaining here?
Um.
Because
Yeah.
I like most people, I don't want to take actual responsibility for my choices and my decisions. So I'm gonna let you tell me who to captain, and when they suck, I'm just gonna blame you on Twitter. Okay.
Yeah. It's either Ellie or Trio for me. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you're good either way.
Yep. And see, like I said, bonuses, bonuses, bonuses. This is what I like. 21.
Nice.
All right. Man, a couple more teams. Couple more teams. So we don't need to watch me pick those teams, but
No,
no, not at all.
absolutely not.
Absolutely.
So let's see. There was what else? What else did I have on our list? I was just telling Bob, I really can't do things without a list anymore. Soccer. How's soccer been going for you?
Soccer's going, man. You know what? So I'm hoping this translates over to baseball. One of the things that that's happening in soccer is that rewards in the boxes that you're getting what they call essence. In essence, essentially, you can save up essence and then craft a card. So you save a certain amount of essence and you get enough to craft a T5 and a little save more, T4, T3, T2, T1 and higher, all the way up. So I've actually been finding that to be a lot of fun, Kev. So essentially what would happen is all of those standard boxes or premium boxes you get, if it were to be baseball, would have essence in it. You open it up, and once you hit that point, you can make a decision. It's do I craft a T5 and hope that the T5, I get lucky and I get a T3 or T2 or T1 from the craft? Or do I save up my essence and then decide to craft at a higher level to get me a better card? And I think it's a really kind of cool concept that has been brought to the soccer world that I would love to see come to the baseball and basketball world as well, because
Yeah.
it forces me as the user to make gameplay and strategy decisions. And I think that obviously this is a strategy game. You have to have the cards, you have to have the pieces, but you have to figure out what you want. If you want to be risky and run that lotto, like you can rip it at a T5 and hope you get a Shohei Otani, which I think is actually really cool. So I got lucky the other day. I tend to save up for a T3 in soccer, and I got lucky and I got a star player. So I was super excited. But from a content perspective, and like what I would expect next year, if we have it in baseball, something that we could probably do, player, is if we saved up essences, ripping them on a Friday show or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And like we open up the boxes, you rip the cards that you want to do. And as I have been very prone to call out the need and importance of collection scores, even getting T5 cards are still good for your collections.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a win-win situation. And so I think it's been a really kind of cool aspect that's been brought in. Obviously, Europe is here, so there's a ton of leagues that you're playing. MLS is a ton of fun. As you said before the show started, I'm going to put the best guys that I have in there and hope that they start. And the fact that on the soccer side, they actually have percentages for if the guys are going to play or not, which is kind of a cool thing. At the end of the day, it is up to the end user to do their own research, right? You can't trust, something like that in a way that would go. So, yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. I'm not sure that that's going to be legible. But yeah, is there a consensus on like you should just roll the dice with the lowest level one, or kind of save up to get one of the higher ones?
It really comes down to each person's preference, honestly.
Yeah.
And so a nice guy, Yelza on Twitter, his name is Peter Stoyanovich, has done a breakdown of Essence and essentially the value of Essence and what is best. And what you have to figure out as an end user is what is going to be most important to you, right? Where is your gallery built? Where are you going to improve? And you have to make that decision for yourself. A lot of people, especially at the limited level, are getting 20 Essence, which is the equivalent of a T5, and you can get that in one game week, and just ripping and seeing what happens and hoping for the best, which is cool. It's fun. It's great for content. I think that I'll probably end up doing something like that in baseball just for the content kind of purposes and the excitement of when it hits, sort of thing. But
Yeah.
other people that have larger galleries, or more refined galleries are saving up for a bit more. There's a great content creator, McBride Ace on Twitter, for anyone that doesn't follow him, big Celtic guy. He's saving up all his essence so he can get that star card. He can rip that star card. So, to each their own. It's hard to figure out, and there's no right or wrong way, which is what I kind of really like about this. So,
And for those who haven't seen him yet, I'm showing one of the new animated soccer cards. So with soccer, typically I think soccer would come out like the new season cards would come out like a couple weeks or a month into the season, right? Like after they started, or they definitely weren't ready by like they were with baseball.
right.
So they did for the first time this early access where they sold essentially like a wrapped card, so you didn't know the design and the picture didn't have to be ready, but then unwrapping day came, and then some percentage of them had one of like 6 or 7 animated backgrounds. Is that right?
Yep.
So yeah, so that's hopefully we'll see cooler and cooler stuff added to these cards. It's pretty awesome. Speaking of which, what do you think, Bob? Are we ready to bring John on? John, are you ready to come on? I got a thumbs up. Here he is.
Hey,
right.
What's up, gentlemen?
How's it going?
Hey, John.
Good. How are you guys?
Great,
Good,
man.
How are you?
How's it going for you?
Everything's good, man. I was just asking a question to the team. Oh no, car engine. Can you guys hear that? I need to close my window. If so,
No,
give me a
I'm
sec.
good.
Oh, you can't hear it? Okay, good. Um, I figured you guys were gonna ask me a few things, so I had to clear something with Damien first. So caught me
Ah,
at a good time.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to start? Do you want to start there?
No, I'll let you guys get to
All
it.
right. I guess was it cleared or was it not cleared?
No, it's nothing bad.
All right.
But
So,
I could
well,
start. I could talk about essentially the season so far and how we've been
yeah.
handling it and
Well,
what's
well, I
been our
wanted to
thought
start
process.
with I want to start with postseason. I
Yeah,
think you'd said something to the extent of like postseason was my baby, and so like, uh, yeah, like it. What do you think of the reception so far? Was it what you expected? Were there things people? I mean, for the most part, it seems super positive. I'm very happy with it. But yeah,
yeah. We knew exactly where the complaints were going to be. We just it was I don't know. I feel like I've been doing this a long enough time to know when like people are going to be mad and what they're going to be mad about. So I knew that like no XP for next year. At least we didn't state it yet. Is going to be
right,
frustrating for some people, and I totally knew that was coming. Hopefully, the card designs just outweigh that aspect because they are really badass. I really like them. So you'll see them soon. But yeah, it was my baby. It was my first time really making like a big grand I don't know leaderboard. So I am a big fan of top heavy leaderboards. I know everyone likes to win something, but first place being like 20 grand for unique really is cool. Like I think that aspect of the game is just like I don't know, it's more heart your heart starts to race. Like I don't know. It's just what I envision chases what they should be, and
yeah,
I wanted to make sure classic managers also had something to look forward to. This is the end of the
yeah,
season. We got to end on a high note in both regards. So I tried to I don't know make a juicy pot for game week schedules and the cumulative, and I think I ended up doing so. For cash, we kind of kept a similar cadence to what champion is in general for cash in the game weeks, but I think we make up on it for it in the cumulative rewards because they really we really went ham with them, and I'm really excited to see how it ends up. I think that instead of like ending on a dwindling note, we're really ending on a high note, and people are going to really have their hearts racing. So that's the point of the game, and I really think that's just a testament to how the whole year went. Almost, I think it was a
yeah.
great year, and I'm really happy with how things turned out and how they are gonna turn out with the end of the season.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. Like I mean, I think one of the kind of broader complaints about like especially the first year where that like the postseason was a letdown. Like it was like this is when, kind of baseball is getting most exciting and then it would, fewer rewards. And I mean there's reasons for it, obviously, but yeah, no, this entire season, I think as a whole seemed more of a buildup, right? Like
Yep.
the in-season card requirements started lower and then they got higher, and around the All-Star break, and there was, the excitement around that. And then we kind of build back up to this now. I mean, I just put up an insane score in limited champ because I have Otani, and Otani's a card I never would buy. I would never buy an Otani. Like he's
Yeah.
great, he's phenomenal, but if he's $200, like there's just you can do so much better. You can play in a more value oriented way that'll probably whatever. But if it's fun for you, it's fun for you and get him. But like, yeah, I mean, he's one where if you win him, yeah, play him. But like, he's a guy I would never have. But like, it does feel like, and this was just the first iteration. I'm sure. I hope you'll continue working on this. But being able to play with your classic cards, play your way into cards that at the end of the year you can run through the playoffs with, and have it actually be worthwhile to do it. I think that's awesome. I think that's great. I think it's so good to see things heading in that direction at times. I always say, more communication the better. And sometimes you don't have anything to say, and that's fine. But yeah, on the other hand, there's stuff that we see like setting my lineup today, the cards, I don't know how they're sorted. And I understand that I have a foolishly large gallery, and so my problems aren't necessarily everyone's problems, but like to have to sort through the highest XP, of a card, like obviously, like as I'm going through and prioritizing, I want the best one first. stuff like that. You know, those things don't get fixed. And I know, you know, there's prioritizing and all of that, but we just don't know what's going on in the background sometimes. But again, it's awesome to hear that you kind of recognize what's important. Like you recognize what's important to the community and you're able to kind of help guide things in that direction is great. And we do appreciate that.
And 100%, I acknowledge the hiccups, I guess, along the way, and I'm not going to shy away from that. I think like we want to come clean with all of that, and we're only going to get better in that regard. And in terms of the game in general, that's also we're only going to get better. And I was listening to you guys chat a little bit before and talk about essence, and that's just like one way the game will only get better. Talk about like really getting your heart pounding. Pulling something like that is like a great feeling, and I'm really excited for MLB to get that. And multi-entry, these are all things that just like you're talking about classic utility, like there we go with multi-entry. That's a great way of doing it as well. So I'm really excited for you guys to see everything. I think like looking at the upcoming NBA season, we're like putting everything we learned and making it our baby. I think that's a good way to tell like what's coming and like what's down the path. Especially if you only play baseball. But yeah, I'm really excited, and I think we put our best foot forward this year, and I hope it shows. And yeah, we're really listening to feedback like this collection event we threw together, and I think it's pretty cool. Like I think the rewards make it worthwhile. Clamp, I'm sorry if we do a live polling and I pull your name. Like, there's no way I can do that. I'm gonna get killed if that happens.
Nice.
I'm praying to the RNG gods that does not happen. But.
Well, so last time everyone that had ever played, you know, free to play got one entry at least, right? There was like 50,000 like people that were entered, right? So without doing that, like it's going to be significantly fewer people, right?
Yeah, for sure. We still have free entry. It's just like called the no card route. It's like a legislation thing. So
right, no, like in the terms and conditions, if you mail
the fine print, you can get in there. Maybe I'm sharing our secrets by.
That's much different than everyone automatically gets an entry.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's going to be a lot less painful for me, I guess. There's not going to be 45,000 entries, so I don't have to scroll through the sheet and find 4,443 or whatever. But yeah, I'm excited, and I hope whoever ends up going to the World Series really enjoys it. It should be pretty great, no matter who the teams are. Hopefully, it's the Yankees, but we'll see.
So, John, to confirm, you are confirming Essence for next year for baseball?
I mean, I don't see why not. We said this year we were trying to bring it in. It's just prioritization led to us not doing that, and I don't see why not. It wouldn't come next year. It's like we're all on the same back end right now, so we're code based, so it's easy to shift or easier than it has been in the past to shift things over and kind of make something new. But yeah, I don't see a reason why we wouldn't. Same with multi-entry. Like I don't see a reason. Ideally, like I asked them, I'll be completely candid. I wanted this postseason to have multi-entry. I thought that would have really put it over the edge, and that would have been like a really cool way to finish the year. But it's just like too big of a hassle, and unfortunately not enough time. So next year we'll definitely be able to have multi-entry and things like that. So I'm excited and looking forward to it all.
Awesome. And then I know I'm really pumped about this postseason because my gallery's big, right? But there are a few people like when I were talking before, that don't have some of these relievers on playoff bound teams. So there is incentive for me to actually spend more money and use all of that cash that I have in my credits and all that kind of stuff that's just sitting there that I've never used. So a couple questions. So number one, that cash in those credits that we have, if we strategically don't open a box with credits in it over the summer so they don't just get rid of them, like are we going to be able to use those again next year? Because that would, like, as a community, I know that we would love that because we've worked really hard for those over the course of the season and we want to be able to put more money in. And a person like me, who I'm going to probably try to sell a lot of my cards to buy in fully into new season next year, but that would certainly help. So that's a big one. I'm really curious if you're able to answer that.
That's a great question.
Bob with the hard sell. I like it.
I think that's like it's like a testament to how passionate our community is. I think like that's a great loophole, whoever found that and like really read the fine text and the fine print.
Well, and that's what I was getting at before. I was like, the people that are like actually playing and into it, like that's of course where our mind goes. It's like, well, how are we
Yeah.
doing it? Whereas, you know, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm certain that they have no idea. No one there has even thought about what happens if I only open one box.
Well,
Sorry.
we think about like what has been like completely thought out is like if someone keeps it, like let's say it's a 2024 box and you keep it till 2025, it's still going to bring 2024 cards and whatnot.
Yeah.
You're not going to
Yeah.
miraculously get a 2025 card.
Yep.
So we have thought about that, but this is like a very it's a loophole definitely, but like by definition, credits reset when you get a new one. So we would have to change a rule somewhere. So I'm not saying like it's a yes or a no, and I don't even know if there is like a right answer.
John, you'd have to change the rule and a lot of coding in the back end, which is just way too much of a resource suck. So I think we just leave it the same way so we can just do it, right?
Yeah, and
Well,
honestly, like it's a good way for people to get back on the platform like every single month. It's a good
Yeah.
retention play, honestly. So
I mean, honestly, John, like I've got like $300 worth of credits, right? And it's 20% of the buy or something like that
yeah,
that you can use up to. So like I'm probably like with those credits, like I'm more apt to spend $1,500 to use those kind of things to get everything I want. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like obviously it's a hard sell on my part. And I know but a lot of people in our community, especially the sorareFP community, have really been wondering about that. And so that's one question. I appreciate you at least giving us a roundabout on that.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
understand
It's
you
like
commit. I got it. I got it.
it's essentially like it is essentially what you said, for lack of a better words. Like, do we want to go in and change rules and have to change the code
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
enforce
Well,
these
I
things
think the
that
interesting thing for
probably
me is
promote spending anyway?
like how many people. So I guess, and yeah, Taylor said, you know, I hope they don't allow it, and I have a ton of credits. Same. I mean, I spent, you know, probably over $1,000 worth of credits just because I'm always buying and selling cards.
Right.
And so yeah, I mean, so I started saving my boxes, you know, to do it. But if it negatively affects the market, like that's the only thing, is that if you guys aren't getting you know, the kind of balance right of credits to, you know, whatever, and it's you know, it's making the market kind of react in a way that might, you know, not be good for the long-term health, is the only thing. And you know, if you need to tweak things, so I would be fine I think leave it this way now, and then next year make sure it's clear how it works and not have it do that, just to retain that flexibility.
Yeah.
But also, like, how many people are, I mean, there's like 70 people watching this. All right. So there's like probably 100 people that think about this. It's not that much of the market, but maybe it is. So
But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
keep in mind, John, like there aren't a lot of auctions over the summer too. So even if I wanted
Yeah.
to use them, I can't use them, right? And
Mhm.
so obviously right now as we push in, it's into the playoffs. If I don't have these kind of guys, yeah. I mean, look at Borowski has $572 worth of credits. And
Yeah.
I know him. He's going to want to buy in. He's going to want to use those. And so will a lot of us, right? But I mean, like the way around it is like, yeah, you guys can, you know, open them once at the end of the month and, you know, hope that you don't win a random T5 card, you know, so
Yeah.
that's, you know, that we're trying to get rid of. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, I would love it if it's possible at some point in the future, just a clear like blog post about like what is actually going to happen so that we can at least act appropriately. Because at the end of the day, if I'm going to have to use those, you know, and auctions are going to run out, there's a higher probability of me trying to just go place the last minute bid on Juan Soto or something like that. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
use those
No,
credits
definitely.
and get the true value out of them. So that's my one question that's really there about, you know, how that's going to work, the box reward. But one other question about the postseason in general when it comes to rewards. One of the problems that I've had over the last few years in the postseason is that the rewards get trimmed down, right? And they were trimmed down to guys that were still available and playing in the postseason. Are we still going to keep the rewards open? So if I win a competition in the postseason, a competition, it's just a competition, like a classic competition. Can I win an Ellie De La Cruz who will not be playing in the postseason?
Yeah, it gets too complicated otherwise, in my opinion. We would
Mhm.
really have to just completely change the way we reward and
Yep.
completely change the algorithm just for postseason. And in
Mhm.
my opinion, it's not even worth it. And I feel like it's makes more sense for cumulative. I think cumulative card rewards should only be postseason players because they're special edition postseason rewards.
Yeah.
So I think you get the best of both worlds in that aspect. And yeah, I don't. We were thinking about it, but was not a proponent for it, honestly. And I understand the other side that people might want postseason only cards so they can use them in the upcoming game weeks and everything, but I think it's just too restricting. And if we want a plethora of card rewards, then we're gonna have to do it this way. Otherwise, we're gonna have to really trim it down.
Yep. And I'm great with that. I mean, at the end of the day, the postseason cards that were rewarded last year were absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
Gorgeous. My favorite card that I have in my gallery is my Gunnar Henderson from last year. The postseason card it is
yeah,
stunningly gorgeous.
yeah.
And
They're
so
really the new ones are even nicer in my opinion. Like they're
awesome.
very similar to the postseason award cards.
Yeah.
Same guy who made those, and I
Mhm.
know those were a big hit. So I'm excited to see what you guys think about them. At first, I didn't even notice like the details when I saw them, and I was like, "Whoa, that is like really really cool." So I'm excited.
Awesome.
Um, and as always, like the rookie versions look really cool. So I think
Mhm.
everyone should be happy.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, that is a good point and or question rather, and I just think in for everyone's best interest, I think more rewards is like the answer, and this is like the path to more rewards.
So, and on that, I'm really glad you said that because one of the things that people have asked me is like, how has this season gone in MLB with the changes? And I think that the changes have been phenomenal. The in-season cash competitions have been great. The solution of more rewards, like it goes both ways, right? There's only so much that we can do. We have a set amount of supply, we have a set amount of cash. And one of the questions I got a lot was, is it sustainable to keep giving out as much cash as being given out for all of the chase competitions and everything in the future? Because one of the things that if I knew we had these in-season competitions coming for this year, John, I probably wouldn't have sold my Juan Soto's and Otani, super rares. And I would have smashed there instead of going to limited. And so part of it is it sustainable or should we expect mass changes? Like, should we look at soccer as the footprint for like what we should expect moving forward? Because I want to be able to prep for these kind of things.
I'm gonna go back to NBA. I think just keep an eye out on NBA, and
Okay.
that'll be a good lever to base
Yeah.
things off of and whatnot.
Yeah. So
Um,
when Essence shows up for NBA, we know we're just
yeah,
keep going with data. Yeah.
like
Um,
we have like it's not we have a set budget in the beginning of the year, so it's not like that goes towards rewards. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's not sustainable because like we think about all of this stuff. Like our finance team is filled with people that are way smarter than me, and like this whole company is filled with people that are way smarter than me. Thank God. So they really know what they're doing, and I don't think sustainability should be the issue. I think uh, I have a lot of trust in these really smart people.
Awesome.
nice. For NBA, what should we expect for kind of timeline in terms of hearing about news and things?
Um, I think like next week you should like have
Next weekish.
yeah, yeah,
And
like, well, I know the date, but I like there's just the chance that like last minute, like, oh,
Yeah,
creative asset, we need to push it back a day. And
yeah,
it's not the end of the world. We have so much time. We like really want to give people all the information with a ton of time just so they can ingest it. It's literally 50 pages of blogs that I wrote. It is no joke. So like it's gonna be spread all the blogs are gonna be spread across a couple days because it's a lot of new information and new things. Our daily
yeah.
game, uh,
mhm,
like the whole, like we introduced like in season classic to you guys, so now we have to do that to NBA.
right.
We have to do like essence. We got to do boxes. Like it's a whole bunch of things to introduce, especially the daily game. Like that's just like a whole nother can of worms. So
Mhm,
there's gonna be a lot of information coming to you guys. But I think there's gonna be a lot of graphics, so it should help if you're a visual learner, help you
yeah.
ingest it and whatnot. So, but I'm really excited. I love basketball. I'm a like diehard Knicks fan, and um, I cannot wait. That's all I can. That's all I'll say.
Nice.
It's been a long time
So
since I've been in the garden, John. So I'm going to come down there and catch a Knicks game with you this year.
Let's do it.
Um,
I can't. anyone that wants to bring me to ask SoRare for tickets and bring me to the Knicks game, be my guest. Like that is a dream come true.
One thing, John, that was great. So soccer had this early access event, and then like the announcement and the ripping of the cards, and that was really like the ripping of the cards is one of the most exciting days that we've seen in a while in SoRare. Is that something I know? It's like be patient and wait for NBA to see if it happens. But like, has there been the internal discussions about doing early access cards? Like, here's the sheath, with the card on it, and then you're going to rip it when the season starts, and you get special edition or that kind of stuff. Has that been discussed internally for the upcoming NBA season and then potentially MLB? Because got to tell you, man, that was a ton of fun.
Yeah, I think it was a really interesting execution, and it kind of solved the big problem we had, especially in football. It's not really a problem in NBA and MLB,
Right.
but they have so many leagues and so many different moving parts that they'll never get the photos at the same time. So they had to start essentially like the game weeks after like 2 weeks of games sometimes. So it would be like your utility is lowering for these cards. Like that's going to impact price, overall market activity, and whatnot. So they came up with this idea that we'll just keep them in packs and we'll sell them like that, and we'll let people rip these packs for reveal day. And they really smashed it out of the park. Like the hollows are insane, and
Yep.
we definitely are going to experiment with motion backgrounds moving forward. And like the world is our oyster in that regard. There's so many fun things, especially in the NBA, which is
Yeah.
like almost like a fashion brand at a point where there's so many different iconography, that's the word, and whatnot. So we got a lot to play with. But to start, like I'll go back to my original point. The whole reason we did it for football was so we can get these cards out at the same time, and that's not really an issue with the NBA. Their press days start next week, and they're a well-oiled machine. They really just spit these out to us,
Yeah.
so we should get them within a reasonable amount of time. Ideally, in an ideal world, we'd give more time for people to buy cards,
Mhm.
but um, but
Yeah.
I think the amount of time we're gonna give should be reasonable. I'm trying to like speak very in code so I don't get
No,
any.
I know. I get it. I understand. I mean, because like at the end of the day, like just ripping it forced me. It had me on the site constantly. Like, right.
Yeah,
And like it's a big thing. And like when I'm on the site, I'm like, ooh, maybe I want to buy this guy and rip this guy too. And like
100%.
I would have gone nuts last year if I bought a Jimmy Butler and I had to rip it. And like the regular ones were just like a regular photo of him. But the special edition one was his emo version where he had the hair. It would have been
Yeah,
absolutely incredible,
I think I think that like we have a lot of chances to do really fun things like that, and it doesn't just have to be for reveal. Like these things can happen throughout the year. Like you could win. I'll give an example. I'm not saying this is going to happen or anything, but like Christmas Day, like now that's a 1 day event. Now we have daily on top of that. Like you can do
Yep.
like win special packs that like you rip, and maybe like 1 out of 10 will be a shiny or something. Like these are all opportunities where we can throw in these great ideas and enhance the daily gameplay and enhance our game in general, because at this point that's the goal. So
So is the daily gameplay going to be akin to like what Rivals is on the football side? No.
no, net new, and I think the execution is very well done, and it is a game type that I think all of SoRare would like to play, not just NBA, and it translates really well. And
Yep.
we'll see how people like it. And the concept to SoRare managers will not be very foreign. I think you guys will grasp it pretty much immediately.
Hmm.
Uh, but maybe like newcomers, it might be a little different. But I think that's just like the game in general. Like it's learning the ins and outs, and I think daily just gives them the opportunity to do that on a daily basis. So
So
that's
Sora
what. That's,
is doing us at sorareFP a favor and making it a little bit more complex so Kevin and I can do a how-to video and get it out
yeah,
there
yeah.
for everyone to see, right? Yeah.
I I don't know if it makes it more complex, because I think the
For
one
him.
of the most complex things
Hmm.
was people not being able to play right away. Like if you join on a Tuesday, you won't be able to play till Friday or Thursday
Hmm.
or whatever. So that's a big issue. Like if I join this game, like what am I I'm gonna come back in 3 days to play it. It's not very
Right.
sticky. Like I have to remember that. Daily game completely fixes that, and Rivals fixes that for football. Like that's the core basis of it. At the end of the day, we just want people to be able to so rare every day and track different lineups and really sweat it out on different aspects. Because obviously, pro, or like what we're calling pro, is our classic in season model.
Mhm.
That is our priority always at the end of the day. That is our main game. But it's like, who knows, like all the games under the so rare umbrella at the end of the day. Like I said, the world really is our oyster. So
I'm excited to see this because I've enjoyed Rivals. My issue with Rivals is that I run out of tickets and I can't play.
yeah,
And then I've been playing Silver football for 3.5, 4 years now, and it sucks to run out of it and get frustrated that I can't do this stuff. So I hope that there's at least some sort of mechanism in there that's like if you put like a pro lineup in, you get like 5 cards to play in like daily games and stuff like that, like 5 tickets. You know, it's just something, whatever it may be. I don't know what it would be, but just something that makes sure that especially new users that are coming in and onboarding have access to it and don't get immediately blocked out of it.
yeah. I think we don't have to worry about that. I think
Cool.
the framework of it is very different from Rivals. So
Yeah.
at its core, I think it's going to be different than what you think.
Awesome.
Which is good. I think different is good. I'm excited to see what everyone thinks. In my head, it doesn't make sense why anyone wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
It's
Hey,
just like more so rare and more fun ways to sweat lineups. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
John, I'm happy to beta test it for you.
Yeah, we'll definitely be reaching out to people. That's for sure. So
Yeah.
keep your eyes open.
Yep. Awesome. Awesome. So I do see a question here from Kika. Speaking on a potential like sober leaderboard for manager stats, essentially a Hall of Fame. Like, I'm really curious, like how this would kind of like formulate. Like, obviously, we need some community feedback. Like, who are the like top tier players? Like, I don't even know if you want to do that and like rank these kind of things. But like, I'm really curious, like, to know how many times Clamp has actually won in Podium and Kika, because like I have to look at their Twitter profiles to see that Kick has hit like 29 podiums this year.
Yeah, I think I think so. Last year we did like a look back. So that would be a fun thing to do for like the end of the year look back. We have like each scarcity's top 10, like who scored the most points through the how many ever game weeks it is. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how many game weeks it is, but that would be a
Mhm.
lot of fun. And that's totally possible. All that data lives within our API and everything like that, so we can totally track it. Um, I think as like an evergreen thing, we love stats and we're constantly adding stats. So like that's just like a thing that is bound to happen and bound to come.
Yep.
And like as we explore longer competitions, like that also has an impact on building longer leaderboards and things like that. So
Yep.
in a convoluted way I answered that, but sorry, it's getting loud out.
No, you're good, man.
Nice.
You're
And I mentioned this before, but like I think we're pretty close to I'm pretty close to figuring out how to start playing with the data that's available on the API. So that's also something that, hopefully we can kind of fill those gaps and probably get ahead of
For
whatever.
sure.
But yeah,
We're always happy to help. Like we are here for the community, and that's the point. And I think that's like one of our pillars that we really do well, and we're always listening to feedback, and we're always willing to talk. This is my second like podcast I've done in 2 days, so I'm
nice.
really here to speak the so rare gospel, and I love it, and I don't know, it's when you're passionate about something, you're willing to talk about it all the time. So
All
yeah.
right. So Borowski had a question. Do you know how many active users there are on the MLB side, and how does that compare with prior seasons?
I do not off the top of my head. I would have to dig into it a little bit. That is also like Damien's wheelhouse. He is such like a numbers guy, and he went to like Harvard Business School, so he has the head for it. So I'll let him handle all the numbers things, and I'll just make sure everyone else is happy. But no, I don't actually know, and I don't have them off the top of my head. I'd have to do like 5 to 10 minutes of digging. So, and I don't know if we like even talk about that often, like
Yeah.
our active numbers. So I would have to make sure like they're cool with sharing that
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
information, which I wouldn't think they wouldn't be.
Yep.
So reward counter, it was fixed on the football side. Is that coming for us?
Yeah. It's just like these are quality of life things that we need to like. I think our big, at least for me, like these are like different like that's engineering and product. Like we were just so focused on making sure people actually had fun on the game. So I definitely need to hammer down on these things. And now that like the postseason is all made, like and we just have to execute, I can start focusing on other things. And I mean other things obviously basketball's a big one. So once we get through that as well, uh really just be able to pound through stuff.
So I know that there were a lot of changes this year, like specifically around special weeklies.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool how you did a community vote, like when you figure these things out, and then that's what you go with. So with the community vote, I have to assume that all of the programming is already laid in to the system. So it's just a matter of like flicking a switch for these things. And so like I asked that question, John, because what I'm wondering is like next year we just kind of like flip the switch and then we get like the other version that was not actually selected this year. Because I mean, a lot of people are going to go with the single. Like I want to make Luis Ariz, $500, because he hits singles all the time and in reverse power and like Carlos Correa. But like I would really love to play some of the other games that weren't selected as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Anything that is just like scoring changes where it's just like a multiplier is so easy for us to do. So I don't even know if we have to have it built. It's just like takes
Mhm.
10 minutes for one of our wizards to go in there and figure it out. So I think like all of those opportunities are still on the table. And like I said, we're a community-based game. We love to get input whenever we can. So if people like reverse power more than something else or
Yeah.
exactly like that, then yeah, we'll definitely always down to take fan votes. So you'll definitely see those coming up. And I think like definitely keep an eye out for NBA. That'll give you a good taste of what we're doing with like community feedback,
Mhm.
like voting wise and whatnot. So I'm excited for everyone to see. It kind of changes the whole game. And changes like special weeklies as well. So it's exciting to see.
Awesome, man. And do you guys have like a team of users that are like community like beta testers and stuff like that for you guys? Because I would assume that you have like a proof of concept to put these kind of changes in there and like a test environment where people could actually do all the testing and work out the bugs and whatnot. I'm really curious how
Yeah,
involved the community is with actually helping troubleshoot because I mean, Kevin, I can tell you that like a lot of the people here watching this show are in the system all the time. We can identify the bugs and the fixes, like and like what would need to be changed right away. And I think that a lot of us would love to be more active because we love this game. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
No, definitely. I think we do have users test for us.
sorry, I'm a child, man. You
No,
said
it's all
puberty.
good. I tried to catch myself. I was like, nope. We do have users test for us in like our test environment or our
Mhm,
dev environment. The whole office does too. Like we have big things to make sure that we have our ever many 100 plus people in the back environment. Like that Mbappe campaign we just did, like there was people testing that thing like constantly. Um, so yes, 100%. I think we could do a better job, like you said, involving the community in that.
mhm.
I just don't know, like it's definitely possible. I just need to figure out how to get like dev access to a community member that's like restricted and whatnot. So, or
Yep.
like I guess it could just be put behind a wall and put it up to prod or whatever. Now I'm speaking like their terms, but uh, I would have to figure it out. But that's definitely fair, and I think that's in our wheelhouse for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm happy to hop on a Zoom call with you, and you can hold my hand and remote me in and let me muck around with things.
For sure, 100%. Kika, stay tuned for that question. Stay tuned.
Ooh.
Yes. I know that a lot of us, especially with the opening in football, like we want things like this. Like
Yeah,
in baseball, is like because one of the reasons I love this so much. So obviously the gameplay is great. It's dynamic. It is by far the best fantasy baseball game that I've played. But I remember as a kid going to the store and getting a pack of like Topps baseball cards and stale bubble gum inside of it, and like looking back and looking at the guy's stats, and like stuff like that would be awesome, especially in baseball. I mean, I know that's more simplistic and that's just a straight data dump than just a graphic design kind of thing, but like anything on the back would be really cool to make it actually feel like a digital card.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree. Yeah,
awesome.
that is
And
definitely
we're gonna try and do this as a podcast. So I don't know, but the question was about the backs of cards. Is there any chance things will be added to that? But yeah, and then kick
For all of
kick
you
it
actually
this
listening
week,
and not watching, the actual question show up on the bottom. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
No, you're all good.
Yeah, that can't. No comment really, but those are great ideas.
Nice. I always have to ask, when are tiers going to be fixed? When can we get Everett back on here to talk about it? Basically, when will you let me do the tiers?
Yeah, I know tiers are always going to be a question, and we're conscious of all the feedback.
Did you notice that that DeGrom came in before any cards have been sold?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me. Shout out Soxy. He let me know that he wanted DeGrom right away. So
I'm glad he's there, but I'm also wondering how. I was terrified because I was the first T1 spot for, I think, limited All-Star, and it
Yeah.
was DeGrom, who's like fine, like I love him, but Class A was right under him, and like I actually need one, and I've been looking for one.
Yeah.
And so he was listed ahead of him. I was scared I was going to get DeGrom, but I did get Class A, so that's nice.
Oh, hell yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, there's still work to be done with however that algorithm is working.
100%. And I am the first to tell you that we're not perfect. Like we own up to our mistakes. I think that's like how we're starting to get better. Like I really think we turned the season around. And
Yeah.
I think that it'll.
Well, so here's what
future
I'm thinking. Assuming I am able to figure out how to pull stuff from the API and play with it, I can make a better, purely mathematical tier system. That'll be my off-season project, was to make better tiers than you. I know I joked about this last year. I was like, let's do a vote, and if my tiers get more votes than the actual tiers, you have to let me do it for a week.
Yeah, it's like that. I don't have the brain for it. Like I was an econ major, but that is still out of my wheelhouse. I think maybe I could sit down in front of it for like a month, but not
Yeah.
my wheelhouse.
I think there's parts of it that machine learning can probably take care of, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. It's just like our marketplace is so complex and like it's so nuanced, and just like the way people trade is so nuanced, and like the people's motives are like influenced by news, and that influences prices, and the machine would have to be able to weed out like the singularities that are a little different. Like I don't know. So it's a lot. It's definitely nuanced, but we are only trying to get better, and truthfully mean that. And I think like I don't know, like check the scoreboard. We really are getting better. So
I agree. You guys have done a great job of kind of building that trust this year. It's that sort
we're
of
trying.
sentiment. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying, and we're trying to be like face forward. We're trying to. That's not a real term, but we're trying to be in front of everything, like put a face to the actual name or game. And I think we're also doing a good job of that. So I'm really excited for everything else for the end of the season. Well, I'm not excited for the end of the season because we love baseball, but I'm excited to see it go down. And I'm really excited for NBA. If you guys have any inkling of liking NBA, I think you'll have a ton of fun this year in it.
Nice.
So we'll see.
Yeah. The daily game is what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
So
I think
I'm really excited to see it.
I like really can't see a scenario that people don't enjoy it because it is just like at its core so rare. So
Yep.
that is that's a beautiful thing. And I think like Rivals, we took a little bit of a leap and going out on a limb, and it really worked. And I think on this one we're going out on less of a limb, and we know that this will work. But if that makes sense, that is not me like doing any digs at Rivals. Rivals is so fun. Like I completely understand it's addictive, but it just is not the same game as our daily game.
Yeah, and well, I mean, I like to hear that. I mean, because for me as an experienced user, like I recognize that Rivals is really like that onboarding tool, get new people really going, but also give us as experienced users something else to do and get involved in the game, learn more players. And like I always thought to myself, like, how can you turn this into like a year-round thing where you truly do like the best of the best Rivals players in the so rare community? Like, how do you gamify the game of Rivals or the gamify of the daily? Like you set up groups and like you have a year-round tournament that goes every quarter, and like everyone that's on a podium, all of a sudden like gets pushed off, and at the end it's just like the top 12 people are fighting in this kind of like one big league to see who is the best of the best. And so I think small games like that, I mean, they're obviously a ton of programming and resources. which is not always at the top priority, but it's just something really fun for not only the onboarding new users, but also the experienced users that are dedicated to it. Because I've struggled to play the NBA game. It just doesn't fit my mindset as much. It's a little bit more difficult in the time it takes to make sure that Giannis is actually healthy, and and that if I have his backup when he is out, who's going to be like a 5 score, who's actually going to like allow me to go nuts in my team. I just don't have the ability to do that myself. But I watch the Twitter updates and all the stuff, time that comes from you guys, and I see all these guys that are superb at this game. And I follow them, not understanding how in the world they do it. But I would love to be more involved in a long-term game like that because, like you, John, I love basketball. Absolutely love it. And I would
Yeah.
love to see more and more and play more because I feel like that was a gap in my Silver experience, was just not really getting into basketball as much as I should.
Yeah, and I think we address a lot of people's complaints, and I do think that there were good parts of last year, and we learned a lot. We learned about chases, we learned how to implement them, we learned that people like them, but there was a lot we could build upon, and there was a lot left for people wanting more, to say the least. So
Mhm.
I think hopefully we satisfy that need or that urge to want more this year, and we're offering like our slogan: more ways to win, more ways to play, more ways to win. I don't know why I'm having a mental break right now, but
Win more plays to play.
yeah,
I like
exactly. But
slogans change all the time, man. I got it.
yeah, 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 yeah. Talking's hard, but yeah, it stays true for NBA as well. So I'm excited to see everyone's like thoughts, and I really want to tell you how many like lineups you're going to be able to play throughout NBA, which is like a big talking point for people, but I
Yep.
can't. Like that is like I'm very excited to see that, what people think about that.
Mhm.
um yeah, so I think like if you just think about it, like multi-entry plus classic and in-season tournaments means like a
Yep.
lot of competitions and then a lot of lineups in those competitions, so I think it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So going back to when we talked to Everett right at the start of the season, he talked about kind of like change windows, kind of. And I know soccer has been very clear about that. Like we're going to make changes to the game during this period, and this period there had been talk, about maybe something like that happening for MLB around the All-Star break, and I don't know that there was any kind of thing significant at that point. Was that planned? I guess, were there things that were scrapped, and
Yeah, I
both for,
just think
both for NBA and baseball, should we expect, a similar kind of commitment to this is the game, this is when changes will happen?
yeah, like we're always willing to adapt. Like we're not gonna I really think we're like one of the least hard-headed companies in the world. Like we really do listen and we really do adapt to what people say. So if like something people don't like, we're go back to the drawing board and see how people will like it. And I understand that like I don't know, whatever I know these commitments we might have made for MLB, like they might have come out of the side of our mouth in like co- context like this where we're like talking in
You're right.
podcasts and whatnot.
Just to be clear, John has said that we're definitely getting NBA news
Yeah,
next week.
exactly.
Animated cards are coming for the postseason.
Exactly. Like
You can definitely do whatever you want with your boxes. All right, we're good.
yeah,
I've
like
got to go. Bye.
yeah, especially in like the world of a startup, things change really quick, so it's hard to
Yeah.
prioritize correctly, especially when you're talking about something that like you're looking forward to. Because like I have an idea of what I'm gonna do next week, but then Monday comes and I'm like, oh, there's a curveball. Then I gotta deal with like the NBA or the NBA
Yeah.
PA, like they need something. So it's like there's every little decision we make, there's like a billion hoops to jump through. Uh, And I think like one thing we're doing well is like getting rid of a lot of these hoops to jump through and trying to make it as little as possible hoops. But still, we're gonna need to get like permission from the NBA, permission from the NBA PA for all of these things. So a lot of things to do. So, but yeah, we're getting shit done though, to say the least. We really are
Yeah.
cooking, um, and there's a lot to look forward to. And I think at the end of the season, I don't think we've really been able to say that before. So I'm happy that we're able to end the season on a high note. And I think like there's no way that it doesn't end on a high note because all the news is already out. So there would have to be like a disastrous thing that would happen. And I feel like we would already know that people
Well,
aren't
way
happy.
to jinx it, John. Thanks.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah, yeah.
Nothing bad could possibly happen.
Yeah. Oh no, man! I hope not. I hope not. I'm really crossing my fingers. I don't think
Nice.
there's nothing that could really
Yeah.
go.
No, and,
So.
and I mean, like Bob and I both said, and I do think, I do think it reflects a lot of the community sentiment. Is I think the season's gone well. I think the things that have been implemented over the course of the season have gone well. I think there is more trust now, and I think we're kind of starting to look at off-season content, and so I think the clickbaity title is going to be like, so rare MLB myths busted, but like instant buy is going to ruin everything, and the the classic in-season split, our cards were nerfed and they're worthless now, like.
Yeah.
All that stuff that we saw early in the season, like none of that really came to pass. Like I think the market has remained stable. I think people's excitement has been there. Yeah, I mean, and it's still a fun. You haven't ruined the game, which is great. It's a fun game.
Yeah. I mean,
No, I mean, but truly, I mean, if you're thoughtlessly making changes, it would be easy to take a step back, and it does seem like it's come from a place where you guys are kind of understanding what we like better and better all the time. That's great.
Yeah, we're really zoned in. Like we really know what we want this game to look like. I think like the future, like we know what we want like this pro game mode to look like. The future of like So Rare's umbrella is yet to be told, I guess, or unfold. But I think there's just so many opportunities out there, and I'm really looking forward to it. And Daily is just like the first of hopefully many.
Yeah, John. I want to personally thank you and Damien and Everett because the three of you were in a chat with me and a number other of the like users for the last few years, talking about ideas and ways to improve the game and stuff like that. And I have to say that you all executed phenomenally this year. But I know it sounds like I might be blowing smoke up your ass.
No, but I mean, Bob literally like
really,
rage quit, right? Like Bob.
Yeah, you did. You did rage quit. I remember.
I ripped my Pampers off and I said, nope, done. And then, but like, I really appreciate like what you've done. I mean, I think that's one of the things that we see. Like, I wasn't sure, and like I was talking to you at the start of the year, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Like afterwards, I said they had the same conversation with Clamp, and once the announced changes came through, that's when I knew I wanted to be back in, and I was going to be back in because the game is phenomenal, and it's always going to draw me back in. And you know, you like all my tweets and stuff like that, so you know that I buy bobbleheads. Like my dream is that like you guys signed a sponsorship deal with Filku or however you say it, and like you send a bobblehead to the winner, whoever they win, that would be absolutely phenomenal. I'd lose my mind if I didn't have to pay $80 for every one of these bobbleheads.
That's crazy that they're $80. That is
dude,
insane.
I mean, they're awesome though, man. I mean, this is what they are, and I'm
Yeah,
a big.
they are really cool. I think like we are only going to enhance the experience, and those are exactly things that enhance the experience, just like that. So,
Well, and it's the reason I brought that up, John, is because I've been on a lot of shows lately, especially when it comes to soccer, because I get really involved with that. And the main question I get is, where did you get that baseball thing? This one, and this is from. That was the
Infinite
first,
Objects?
That was Infinite Objects. That was the first season. So I won the super rare World Series competition. And Infinite Objects, you guys signed a deal with Infinite Objects, and they made this as a trophy, and it is the coolest trophy. And every single show, people ask where in the world I got that. And
that is really cool.
That was super, super special. And so
I think that was before my time, honestly.
Yeah, man, it was. It was the first season. It was like it was deep. I mean, like it was a ton of fun. I mean, I don't know, but like these are the things that are just extra that have an impact on a lot of us and get a lot of people happy and intrigued,
Yeah.
So,
I'll be honest, the logistics, well, less so for the MLB because it is more of like a US centric sport, but like the logistics of sending everything else can be a nightmare.
Yeah.
For NBA playoffs, it was like a nightmare, like an absolute nightmare. So I agree.
I would suggest, maybe every milestone for podiums, you get something 5, 10, 20.
I think that's a great idea. And we'll obviously just build upon things like that. Like I said, only enhancing the experience. And And I really appreciate what you said about like only the updates really sounding like they're coming from a place of understanding the game and like understanding the needs of managers, and that's really what we're trying to do. So everything moving forward, we hope only enhances and detractor, and like we learned our lesson last year with the collection event, collection game that we had announced, and like people hated. Like we really need to think of everything. So every time we're like writing everything out, the question that goes through our head is like, if I'm a manager, what do I ask after reading this sentence? Like, what do I want to know? What do I want in general? And thinking like that has helped us build this game essentially. So
Awesome, man. One last thing I'm going to ask for that's very selfish of me, but
yes,
can we have
absolutely.
can we have an achievement put into the game and so are MLB so that when you hit your first podium, you unlock a trophy room for yourself
That
and
would be
all the
really cool.
podiums show up as trophies
I
or
think
medals or something like that? I think I would freak out. So
I think that is a great idea. We have our Hall of Fame sort of, but it's not really like
yeah,
built
but
out.
that's all like
Yeah,
you have to manually manipulate and that kind of stuff. It's
exactly.
not like I want to click a
Exactly.
button like ooh, look at the pretty things I want.
I agree. I think like I don't know. I'm gonna be completely honest. The focus is fully on the game,
Of
and like we
course.
want to build the best game. And then as
Yep.
like we can build this core out, then we can make it look really pretty, and we can
Yep.
make sure that people have fun with the designs and like with
Yeah.
their trophy rooms. And like, but that's not to say we're not experimenting with that stuff. We still have time to do that, and just like keep an eye out on NBA, and we'll see what you think about. I don't
Like I
know,
said,
tracking your journey, I guess, is a good way of doing it.
yeah.
Like, I'm coming up with taglines, and it's like, these for NBA, and a lot of what we're talking about kind of radiates the same energy.
Yeah. Purely a selfish ask on my part, but just
Yeah.
fun. I'm on the site
Oh,
when nothing's in, you know.
it makes sense, though, like, you wanna be attached to these cards or your gallery, like, there has to be some sense of, like, yearning to show off your card, but not only that, like, not sell it. Like, I want this card in my gallery forever. Like, how can
Yeah.
I immortalize that? How can I tell what I've done with that? Like,
Yeah.
that those are always great things to have, and it's just, like, not only sticky, but it's just like a I don't know.
It's in
It makes it more of a collectible, not only to you, but to the whole market. So, we're
exactly.
definitely trying to find ways to build a connection with your cards and your gallery, so we're
Yep.
definitely on top of it as well, top of
Yeah.
mind.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, it's these are the fun things that like they do nothing for the game, but they do massively improve enjoyment for people that have put so much.
100%.
It's
And
like
it
that infinite objects thing, John. Like if that was just like something in my trophy room and just it scrolled through the players that I had or just showed the lineup that I had, like you could actually, I would love to be able to track what my winning lineups scored at the start, like all the way through, and like to look at the evolution of the game. And like I
yeah,
think this baseball, like our scoring system is it's been the same, right? Like we don't the scoring system doesn't shift too much, so scores go nuts, right? But you get more and more cards every single year. There's more Aaron Judges out than there were in the first season, obviously. So scores are higher. It's harder to win. And I love
yeah.
seeing it. I really want to see, especially in football and then in basketball and in baseball, all of that kind of stuff. And I don't know, just it would make me smile. And you know what? If you decided to, do like the worst thing in the world and put microtransactions on those things, I would probably spend a ton of money on that crap too.
Yeah,
So
I don't know if that, like, radiates the essence of what
no,
essence
it
is a
doesn't. Not at
is.
all. Not at
Yeah,
all. But
like,
it's a
which is a
sports
good
game.
thing,
But I'm
but,
just
like,
saying,
yeah,
I want
I
things, John, and I'm important. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. But, like, to your point, it's all about enjoyment,
Don't make him quit again, John.
it's all about enjoyment, and this is a game, and anything that enhances the user experience or any of the game in general, like, yeah, our focus is fully towards that. And Nico,
Yep.
Nico is so important that like wants to make it like so like I don't know what the word like stresses. There we go. Nico really stresses like the importance of like this being a game, and like it has to be fun. Like you have to really be having fun. Like obviously there's money involved. Like that is not to go without being said. But like at the core of this, we're playing with cards. Like it's like you're unlocking your inner child to a certain degree, like collecting cards and playing on the block and like I don't know, trading them and whatnot. So it
Yep.
is something special, and like it's a game, and we got to treat it like that. So only more fun things to come, only more ways to play, and obviously more ways to win. So that would be my final thesis statement for my time on sorareFP, and I hope you guys asked everything you had to ask, and my answers were adequate enough. But I really enjoyed my time.
John, I can't thank you enough for being here. It's been
Thanks,
a ton
man.
of fun. Like, this is awesome. I really appreciate what you and the whole team has done.
Of
And
course, and if we want to do something at the end of the season or something like that after the postseason, you know, he's around. And like I said, when you're passionate about something, you're willing to talk about it all the time. So
yeah,
whatever you
and as
guys
it turns
want.
out, you know, sports, especially sports that So Rare covers, they never end. So
Yep.
year-round stuff. So
Exactly. Year round, year round. So it's a beautiful thing and a beautiful flywheel. So I can't wait to get my basketball hat on and let's go Knicks and let's go Yankees. I'll add it on both of those
there we
things.
go.
Maybe
Hey,
the second one you don't want to hear, but
and
it's the truth.
soon enough, John, I'll start pinging you about making sure that we have all the licenses for the World Baseball Classic that's going to come up again.
Yeah. I will definitely be getting a bunch of questions about that. So you won't be
Yeah.
the only one.
All right.
All right,
John,
guys. I'm gonna
thank you
hop
so
off.
much.
This was
Yep.
amazing, guys.
Thanks again, John.
We'll
Thanks,
talk
John.
soon. All right, bye,
Yep.
guys. Have a great weekend.
Take
You
care.
too. All right.
That was awesome, man.
That was good stuff. Thanks again to John for doing that. You know, I know kind of he touched on this a little bit, but like there's a balance between giving us too much information and then not being able to live up to it and then being able to kind of do that. And I certainly appreciate his willingness to do that and take a beating at times when they can't live up to it. But no, I mean, I truly think the communication has gotten better. We're always, it's like rewards. We're always going to want more. But yeah, no, I mean, it's good to see them willing to do that. And like I said, talking to John, like it's really nice that it seems like they have a grasp of what we like about the game, and they're building on that. And so that's that's the best we can hope for, is that they get why we like it and they continue to emphasize the good parts. So.
Yep, 100%. That was a lot of fun. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what these postseason cards look like. You know, I'm excited about the postseason in general.
And to be clear, John confirmed that they're going to be animated. They're going to be great. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, and that's what it is, you know. And when we get a final say on the boxes and if we can use them and how we will manage them with our in-season cash, no matter which way it goes, we can help make those decisions. And I think that, yeah, they want the game to work. The game is working great. They love the game, John especially. And for all of you in here, you know this, but John is always available on Discord. He's always available on Twitter, and he's really good about getting back. So, yeah, everyone, just thank you all for showing your support and asking questions. I hope we got to most of the ones that you wanted to know. If you have any questions for us, by all means, reach out, and join sorareFP. We're making the predictions. We're making the projections all the time. We have everything running smoothly right now. Thanks to Kevin.
We put out our first 2025 season-long projections. They're not the highest. I wouldn't trust them necessarily. Their starting point is what I'm calling them. There's going to be, it's my biases kind of taken into what we took into account, kind of adjusting kind of projections coming into the season, plus performance this season, plus kind of what looked to me like the most kind of relevant stretches of, someone's floor and ceiling, and trying to kind of average all that out. So there's for sure going to be some guys that, because of small sample sizes, they're going to look better or worse. I know Victor Robles was one, Luke and Baker, guys that, haven't played much, but, if you steal 28 bases in 100 plate appearances or something like that, it's your scores are going to be pretty wild, because it's even while you're kind of regressing that stuff to the mean, it's still going to be kind of big. So yeah, but yeah, it's fun stuff. We're looking forward to the off season and doing this. Thanks again to everyone who came and hung out and watched. We really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll be able to figure out how to make this a podcast so it's not just the live stream. But rock on. Thanks again to Bob for coming. Looking forward to doing this again next week. Good luck, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend.